Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Everyday EDC. My name is Tyler and today we have the Wii Practic. This is a pretty interesting little blade. I picked this up on Blade HQ probably about 6 months ago for about 140 bucks. It was a pretty good buy and we will go into why and kind of take it from there, right? So this is the Wii Practic. Just as a quick reference, this is M390 on the blade. We have the titanium pocket clip. These are G10 liners with some stainless steel liners on the inside that are milled out. You can't really see it. We got a G10 backspacer going on right here. The fit and finish on this guy is pretty darn good. If you want to look, there's no gaps between the liners. There's no gaps between the pivot collar, or I'm sorry, their logo on the pivot. No gaps on this side. The pocket clip looks nice. And yeah, so let's get into some specifications. We'll go into some comparisons, and then I might have a comparison video for this knife that may be kind of taking the knife, making it obsolete, if you will. But we'll see how that goes in the comparison video. So, the weight on the Wii Practic. Let's move this guy off the side like we do, just so we can have room to work here. The weight on the Wii Practic is 3.26 ounces. Let's check the overall length on this guy. So the overall length's coming in at about just under 7.5 inches. The blade length is coming in at about 3.5, but the overall cutting edge is coming in just under 3. You're probably getting 2 and 7/8 of cutting edge here. We got this pretty large, it's not really a finger choil, it's more of a very large sharpening choil, but the frustration there is that it's too large for a sharpening choil, too small for a finger choil. But anyways, we're in the specifications, don't jump ahead of yourself. Alright, so the blade stock thickness coming in on the Wii Practic, coming in at it's looking right at about 120 thousandths. The behind the edge thickness coming in at it's taking me a while to get this one. I'm gonna say it's under 20 thousandths, but because of my micrometer it's not showing me, but that would probably put it between 15 thousandths and 20 thousandths there. Okay, let's get into some size comparisons, and then we will talk about this knife, overall thoughts, and etc., etc., etc. when it comes to knife reviews. So we have the Spyderco Manix 2, the PM2 is on a spa day, and the Spyderco Astute. The Spyderco Astute coming in at almost the exact same length, maybe a little bit shorter on the blade. Overall cutting edge is about the exact same, but due to this large choil thing there, you're losing a little bit of a cutting edge. But, for a knife this long, for the overall length, it's not too bad. And for the blade length to weight ratio, you're also getting that ounce and inch going on there. So this is the feldspar and the mini feldspar. As you can see, the mini feldspar just about the same size as the Wii Practic, plus or minus. And then the large feldspar coming in at slightly larger. Maybe by about a half an inch or so. The Rat Model 1 and the Rat Model 2. As always, I try to show you as many knives as possible so that if you've seen a knife that you can compare this knife with, then you know exactly what you're looking at. That's why I would rather show more than less and try to shorten these videos by showing less. I would like to keep these videos shorter, but it is what it is. I would rather show you guys different knives. All right, so here we have the Spyderco Doris and the Civivi Doris and the Civivi Elementum, the little brothers to the Wii family. So what we're looking at here is the Doris is coming in much smaller. I don't think this is a much easily compared knife. I might do a comparison video between these two, because if you look at them, obviously the Wii Practic is slightly larger, But other than that, they both have this hollow grind. I mean, even where the hollow grind starts is virtually the same, right? We got jimping on the same exact spot in the blade for both of these. You know, everything about these, this one carries a little bit deeper, it's a little bit more narrow in your pocket. But everything else about these, even the position of the freaking lanyard hole is like the exact same, just done in a slightly different way, right? If you take a look, that finger choil thing, it's the same exact on both knives. So, I mean, I probably will compare these two. But that was the Civivi Elementum. Now let's talk about this guy. So this knife is fairly lightweight. It is kind of blocky, but it does go in your pocket and in and out of your pocket just fine. This pocket clip isn't the best for taking it out of your pocket. It does have a tendency to get stuck right there, but it's not a big deal. It's not like the Puffin. I went over that recently, and the Puffin, you know, I love the Puffin, don't get me wrong, but the pocket clip kind of irritates the shit out of me. It gets stuck in and out of your pocket all the time. I didn't go over the hardware on this. I did just take this apart and rehab it so that you guys can see the actual, you know, Fidget Factor on this. I will say for a Wii, out of the box, the Fidget Factor, while it's there, it's never been great. I mean, I have knives that I can just, you know, take a look at the Elementum. Like, minimal effort to do anything with that. And so the Fidget Factor on this is a little frustrating for my first Wii. It's not the best, it's not awful, but it's just okay, right? Yeah. So this M390 blade's really nice. It came screaming sharp out of the box. I have stropped it once, and it's still, I'm not going to do a cut test on this because I am trading this knife very soon. But you guys can tell, let's see here. It's shaving the arm pretty baby smooth. So this thing is razor sharp. It carries fairly well. The fit and finish is great. It's your typical Wii quality. As far as recommending this knife, unfortunately for the Wii Practic, I do believe there's other Wiis out there. If you're looking in the Wii market for the $140 to $160 range, that kite fin, I haven't held it yet, but you know, knowing what I know now, I probably would have never got the Wii Practic over the kite fin. Not really a knock on the Wii Practic. It's been around for a while, so yeah. I don't know if I mentioned already the T8 screws. Everything is a T8. I took it apart and we verified that, so if I did, I will cut one of them out. That's about it, guys. You know, I know this is kind of a lackluster review. I don't really have too much to say about this. I like the knife, but for everything that I have felt, and then the price range that this is coming in at, it doesn't, in my opinion, the Civivi line, short of the materials that this is made out of, which really only referring to the M390, other than the blade, which is what you're paying the $140 for, I really think the overall action on every other Wii knife is better than the action on the Practic. I took it apart, I polished everything that I could, I cleaned up the bearings, and then I lubed it before I put it back together, and the action's much better. Don't get me wrong. This action is much better than it was. But it's just not, you hear this legendary action from Wii, and it, you know, it's great action. It's on bearings, you feel it, but I don't know. We're starting to see budget knives with an action that's better than this. All that being said, like I said, you're still getting the M390. It's got decent ergonomics. Like, this feels good. You know, you really can't choke up, but I sometimes do. I'll grab that and pull down so that your finger's not sliding, but you got to make sure you're slicing down so that you don't actually move your finger onto the blade. This thing has bit me pretty good at one point in time for me doing something stupid. So, bonded by blood, if you will. And that's, I hate to say that's it, because this is kind of a lackluster video. I've had this for 6 months. I'm just not super impressed with this, and I don't want to go on and on about how I'm not impressed with this knife. You know, these blue liners are interesting. You got this weird green with the blue. It's okay. This titanium pocket clip looks really good. I wish they would have tried to match the blue with this blue. That would have been nice. As far as taking it apart, it takes apart just fine. You do have some jimping on the that flipper tab, but it's not bad. Oh, that was dumb. It's not bad. It it catches. You can do this all day, so it is kind of fidget friendly in that sense. But as far as like taking this and doing this, until I cleaned it up, you couldn't get it perfect to where it would just flick shut like that. So I apologize for the lackluster review. I intend to do a comparison video that'll probably mean more to people once I compare it to the Civivi Elementum, which, once again, I think that is kind of its big brother, right? Slightly larger blade. Everything else is very, very similar. Even the jimping on the freaking liner lock, it almost looks the exact same. All the jimpings look the exact same. The fit and finishes look the exact same. You're getting a couple different things out of this, but for $140, I'm not sure. So it feels kind of weird to say I don't know if I necessarily recommend the Practic. I would say do your research, and if you're in love with this knife, you're not going to be disappointed. But those of us that have felt different knives, I have a feeling that you're going to pick this up and say this isn't Wii's best item. There's nothing that stands out that's just great. The ergonomics are good. The M390 is great. It came out screaming sharp, but the fidget, the action on it's okay. The fit and finish is great, but that's Wii. You get this titanium pocket clip, which they could have just thrown a freaking Civivi pocket clip on this, changed this to an S30V, and then you have a Civivi Elementum for $80. Basically, right? Just a slightly larger. I mean, even the blades. Let's take a look at the blades. If we want to take a real close look at this, everything is the same except for the fact that they took off like maybe 1/4 of an inch on this blade stock. That's it. And you got this angled jimping on the sides there, which is functionless. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I apologize on a Saturday morning we're doing a review that's not as entertaining. I can't really hate on this knife or love this knife. It's just kind of a blank to me. I don't really care either way about this knife, which whatever, so, but the blade is great. The grind on this hollow grind is great. This comes to a stupid slicey edge, and this knife is a knife that if you bought it, it would last you forever if you're a one and done guy. But in my opinion, if it was me and I could do it all over again and I had to choose one forever, it wouldn't be the Practic. So, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Tyler. This has been Everyday EDC and the Practic. Stay sharp, stay safe, and don't drink a beer at 8:30 in the morning. Drink some coffee mixed with a little bit of heavy whipping cream to try and justify any type of keto thing that we're doing. Thank you guys. Have a good day.